What happens when your worst fear becomes your reality? Hi, I'm Brent Cassidy. Welcome to the Nightmare Success In and Out podcast, where we explore how to overcome your fears and nightmares to set yourself free. We're going to be exploring this topic with guys I was in Leavenworth with. We're going to be talking about life before prison, life in prison, and life out of prison. These stories can be inspiring, sometimes sad. There's some humor, but hopefully you can come away with a nugget of something that will help you knock down some of the prisons you built up in your own mind. Folks, today I have Mr. Ben Robinson with me. Ben, welcome. Welcome in.
Thanks for having me. Brent.
So, Ben and I were just catching up a little bit. One of the things I do want to get into that we'll get into as we get going here, but Ben was just telling me as he was getting ready to get out of Leavenworth, and now I remember this because I kind of remember it was one of those things that goes through the camp, like whisper, "Hey, did you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened?" But you almost got shipped out, almost lost your year in RDAP, and you spent 3 months in the hole. Man,
additional months. Yeah,
man. And at this time you had a 10-year minimum sentence. So you were thinking, man, I'm going home. I'm getting out of here. This is all good. You're working at,
most definitely.
You're working at Fort Leavenworth Golf Course. I mean, oh,
come on. Yeah, it was at the end of the tunnel. And then, like I say, they came and picked me up out there. And I was like, I actually honestly thought like something caught up with me from before my case, before everything. But once they took me to the big house and I looked around, I was like, y'all got the wrong guy.
Oh, man. Well, Ben, take me back a little bit to life growing up as a kid. What was going on? What was your family like? Siblings? Your world?
Growing up as a kid, it wasn't peachy. I didn't have a silver spoon. It wasn't rough either. I had a semi of a stable household, Mom worked, my stepdad was around. My other dad was still living in St. Louis. At this time, we were living in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. But, everything was cool. I went to a good school. I went to a school called Satchel Paige Academy. Me and my brothers out there, it was a great school. That's where we got into sports and track and field and swimming on the swim teams and things of that nature. But, that was childhood, and then we moved back to St. Louis when I was around 8. Got into Pee Wee football, and rode that out into high school to where I started doing other things.
Brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got 2 brothers, 2 sisters.
Where do you fit into that mix?
A baby boy.
Oh, the baby of the family. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got 3 daughters. Yeah. We've got a baby in our family. So sports. Tell me a little bit about that, Ben. What did you like? What was your
football.
sport? Or did you like them all?
Football was my favorite.
Football?
Yeah, I'm a sports person, but football is what I spent a lot of time on. Either that or like in middle school, I did a lot of playing indoor soccer and stuff like that. But earlier when I was about 9, 10, 8 in that area when we stayed in Kansas City, I was heavy on gymnastics and the swim team.
Wow.
So like competing at, national competes that was held in Kansas City and stuff like that. And then swimming on the swim team with Olympic sized pools as a kid, it was amazing. Definitely at that school that we had. It was great.
I bet the gymnastic thing helped you out with playing football. Just being the agility of what did you play? What was your position you like to play?
Football. I played. I started out playing tight end, then moved to wide receiver and cornerback.
All right. So, yeah. Played both sides of the ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Once I got up to my summer camp before high school, I was going to Lindbergh camp, and that's when Coach decided he wanted to run me both ways. But I ended up transferring.
Yeah.
And I went to JC, went to Jefferson City, and went to Simon school up there. And same thing. Once Coach got to seeing my abilities and stuff, they started me both ways up there too.
All right. Well, I always think that playing sports kind of helps you adapt in life. You get on a team, you have to figure out things. If you're good, you're accepted. If you aren't that good, you got to work hard to get into the groove of things. I think, overall, I think sports is a real trainer for life events because there's a lot that goes on with sports. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. I can relate to that. Even when I went up to Simon, like I said, I'm used to playing wide receiver and cornerback, and coach saw the agility and the speed and tried me out at running back, and I just couldn't get with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't get with it from grabbing the ball from behind the snap like that, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to doing it as a receiver. And it was just like, I'm like, nah. It was one practice. I was one and done. I'm like, nope, coach. Keep me out at wide receiver. Yeah, I'm good.
Those are two different positions for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Okay, so you get you kind of move around a little bit, and you get out of high school. So what'd you walk into after high school?
So I actually got out of high school. It was a little bit of my own doing because I actually dropped out. I was out at Lindbergh District for a while, got into some trouble out there, and had to come back down to the city and go to Roosevelt actually. And seeing the difference in the curriculum from county to city kind of geared me towards like, now I'm not going to do this again. I'm restudying stuff I did in sixth grade, and I'm freshman down here. I'm like, nah. So I actually dropped out for a year, typical stuff, hanging out on the block with friends, chasing women and stuff like that, trying to make ends meet. Until just one day, me and one of my friends was like, hey, man, there's nothing going on out here until like 2:30, 3 o'clock, man. We might as well just go get back in school, man. So we both went and re-enrolled ourselves in school at Roosevelt. And, a year later, I went on here, graduated from high school, with my diploma. And then I thought I was going to take a break, but I didn't. I went and enrolled in ITT Tech like 6 months after high school and went out there and got my associate's degree in computer networking.
Okay. So that is interesting. You dropped out, figured out there's not much going on out here. I'm going to go back and re-enroll.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, man. It was, even like out there just peddling, like, selling drugs and stuff like that and still trying to chase women. There was nothing going on until 2, 3 o'clock. So it was like no money coming through, no females out here. So we was like, hey, man, we might as well just go back to school, man. Because we ain't got number 1 year left anyway. So
right.
Let's just go right. And we went and did it. Actually, man, me and my friend, we went and did it together too, yeah. Both graduated together.
So you went in and you said you went to, what school did you go to get the tech training?
ITT Tech.
Yeah. So what was that, a 2-year, 4-year?
I did a 2-year. Got my associate's.
Okay,
yeah.
Got your associate degree.
Should have went on and did the bachelor's, but I was still caught up in the streets, so I got done with the associate's.
Well, explain a little bit that to me, Ben, because you're kind of straddling the fence in both worlds there. You're kind of in this environment where you're bettering yourself with your education and you're doing some things and learning some new stuff and you're doing the street life. Did it feel weird?
I'm going to say, yeah, it felt weird because, I was the only one. Hey, man, I'll be back. They're like, where you going? I'm like, man, I got to go to night class. I'll be back. I'll see y'all later. So it was definitely weird in that aspect. But as far as like on the straddling the fence, the household I grew up in, it was not the norm, but you know what I mean? I understood what was going on in certain areas of my household. So like going to school and like playing the streets, it was semi-normal to me because I had been doing it since high school, actually, So.
Did you feel like that you were getting, like they didn't think it was cool that you were leaving and going to night school? Like maybe you're wasting time or not really?
Everybody in the area supported me going to school. Like I used to come up to the neighborhood, it may be something I may have to do a presentation at school that day. So I got on a button up, I got slacks on, but I'm out in the neighborhood with everybody still doing my thing. And then, like I say, hey, I'll catch y'all later. I got to go to school and I'll shoot off and go to ITT Tech.
Yeah.
And after class, I'll go back. Yeah.
Wow. So your business life, what'd you roll into?
Then?
Yeah.
Then it was marijuana and cocaine. Yeah,
Was it
marijuana and cocaine.
what? And just for the guys or the people, the girls, guys listening. So when you rolled into that, did you have a group of people that you kind of did all this with, or were you? Was it a big group? Were you on your own? Were you using two? I mean, how did it all work?
When I first got into it, it was a few of us, a few good friends that I've been staying across the street from for a while. We became good friends and stuff like that. So we kind of like, they say jumping off the porch. So we kind of like did that together, and went out into the market and saw what we can get. And we did it, saw the benefit, and we just went back, as they saying, is flipping the money, and just returned it and got more and just went back out, and it just started from there.
I always think it's interesting though, because, when you're building a business like that, because it's a business, it's just an illegal business. But I always think it's so interesting to see, because there's so many facets of it that are exactly like going and starting a new business. You've got to get the product, you've got to figure out distribution, you got to figure out the incentives, you got to build clientele, and you've got all those things that are exactly what a regular business has to do to be an entrepreneur, to build your business. I always thought being at Leavenworth, there was a lot of familiarity talking to guys.
Mailbox.
A lot of familiarity to the guys I would talk to about my business and their business. It was just a different business.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it was different. And then when I first got into it, I really wasn't looking at it, as a business standpoint. It was just survival mode, definitely, you know what I'm saying? And wanting to be able to get out there and do things on my own. Once I climbed the ladder, a couple of years later, I started looking at it as a business, because I was protecting myself. I was, raising myself semi, and I was raising a little girl at that as well. So I looked at it different, I didn't just look at it like, I was just out there just, selling all this stuff just to be doing it. I had a purpose behind it. I had my own house. My daughter was well taken care of and things like that. I also supported a lot of other people. So yeah, it was definitely, once the ladder was climbed, it was definitely a business aspect of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So when did things turn? When you started feeling like something was coming down?
I was at ITT Tech.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, I had built a lifestyle to where, getting a regular 9-to-5 was not going to cut it. So I was trying to supplement the income, and that was one of the best ways that I was trying to do it. So I was trying to get an IT job, and I kind of, still stuck in my ways, and I kind of squandered that, because I think it was at Boeing. Yeah, I could have got a job at Boeing, fresh out of ITT Tech. And
which would have been an awesome job.
Oh, man. Kicking myself in the butt for it. So they tell us after the interview, it was like a group thing, but it was only like a few of us there from ITT Tech, and it was like 7 or 8 people from other colleges. So they were like, "Hey, you guys, after this, go down the street, do your UA." I'm like, I can't do that. I smoke weed every day, so I'm like, man, I'm gonna burn this. So I thought I was gonna have like a week gap to like go do that UA, and I actually didn't. So when I called my rep back, like, "Hey, I'm finna go down the street and do my UA. Is everything still good?" They're like, "Oh, no, we made our decision already, and we picked our candidate." And that it crushed me a little bit for real, because I really wanted to, it was going to supplement what I've been trying to do. And I could have got out the game and been done with it, because starting pay was great. Everything was great,
Yeah.
So that's kind of when it started getting like going downhill, That was one of the first stints. And then I had another stint coming out of my house one day, and I almost got caught up, jammed up by some police officers who were just trying to see who car it was on the corner. And at that particular time, like, I stayed like 2 houses from the corner, but there was a tree on the corner and no tree in front of my house. So I used to park my car in front of the tree to keep it safe, because it was a black car. Come out the house one day, I'm loaded, me and my friends, and see the cops at the corner, and I'm like, I know they're really not paying attention to us. So we're gonna just go to the car, man. What y'all want to do? Y'all want to go through the alley or go to the car? They like, man, let's just go to the car. I'm like, all right. We get to the car, and that's when the police they swung right on us, and I'm like, oh man, I was dirty. I'm gonna just say that I was dirty.
How old would you have been, Ben, when that happened?
I was 20, 21.
Wow, you were young.
Yeah.
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 And how old would your daughter have been?
My daughter at that time, she was like 18 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So is that when it all? Is that when it all kind of spiraled in?
Yeah, it was it was like the domino effect. It was a few situations that I saw, and then I got guinea pigged. That how that is. So just when I actually got hit and got jammed up with the time is when a guy guinea pigged me and told the police detectives that I was the one that he was getting it from, when it was actually the other way around. So when I left him, that's when they jumped down on me, and that's when it went downhill. Yeah.
So did you have representation? Like what was the process? Like what happened?
So the initial part of it, like when it first happened, it was state.
Yeah.
So like it was it was state. So I really wasn't sweating it then. Find it right out and everything, like within 24 hours. And then like I was in a rental car when I got jammed up, so like I was moving around, so I had to keep a bag with me. And in my bag, it used to be like personal stuff, mail and cologne, like so I wouldn't have to be running in and out every other house and stuff like that. So it was a personal bag that they kept of mine. So after I bonded out, I kept trying to call and get this bag back, and they were like, "Oh no, if you want your bag, you need to come over here and give us some information." So I was like, "Man, look, I ain't got time to be dealing with y'all, man." So my girl was like, "Go to Eternal Furs, get Eternal Furs on and get your property back." So I'm like, "All right." So I go downtown, Eternal Furs, get on it. Now they call me back down there to get my bag. Go back down there to get my bag. Two detectives walk in behind me and jam me up. "Oh, you got a federal indictment." I was like, "Man, get out of my face. You lying. Like I've been talking to lawyers, running my name all week." And they jammed me up downtown at Central right there. And my lady was there. She saw it, everything. She was hooping and hollering. And they put me in the back of the car, drove me across the street and parked. And I was like, "Hey, what are y'all parking for?" They was like, "Oh, give us just a second. We gave you a chance." I'm like, "Man, do what y'all gonna do." So I ended up having my cell phone on me, so I called my mom while I was in the back in the handcuffs. I was like, "Hey, come downtown." They jamming me up, and they turned around, took the cell phone, punched me up. So long story short, they made 3 phone calls. So now we're about to make a left. So we're making a left to Justice Center on the left side and the Federal Building on the right side. I'm praying he make that left, and they went past and made the right. And I was like, "Yo, what are y'all doing?" They was like, "Man, we gave you a chance." And I was like, "Y'all fuck this for this." And what was that? March of 2008 was the last time I saw the streets of St. Louis until I got released.
So did they, when that happened and you went, basically you're in the system, now you're in a federal charge, how'd they present? Because I think, if I understand right, it doesn't really matter. The minimum that you get on that is a 10-year sentence, right?
Yeah.
So, and did you have an attorney through this thing that was appointed to you, or did you get an attorney from the outside, or how did you feel all that?
At first I had one appointed.
Mm-hmm.
I really was just riding it out, seeing what was going to happen. I was really trying to get the bond, and the guy kind of like, he messed up one day, and I had the court date. My family's highly involved, so I had told him, like, "Man, anytime I got court, man, you let them know so they can come down here." And I get all the way downtown, and I ain't see nobody. And I was like, "Oh, no, he's tripping." So I get back to Lincoln County, and I called my mom like, "Hey, y'all, why want y'all at court?" They was like, "We ain't know." So I was like, "Oh, we gotta get rid of him. It's time to go on and hire somebody, because he ain't crossing his T's and dotting his I's properly like how we want him to." So one of my cellies knew a good guy, so I had just hired him, a guy named John Lynch. And I think it went from there.
So your family's supporting you. I'm guessing that they're taking care of your daughter as all this is going on. How long are you in the county?
I was in county from March of 2008 to November of 2008. That's when I got shipped to Oklahoma in November.
Wow, it's a long time in county.
Yeah,
I was in county for 6 days and it felt like 6 years. I mean, county is the worst. The worst, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was worse. I took it different because where I was out there in Lincoln, I was around a lot of state dudes and they was just stressing. So I was at ease for real. You know what I'm saying? Once I didn't get the bond, it was like adapt to your situation.
Yeah, you started adapting to what you had.
Yeah.
So basically, you get your the attorney comes to you and said, "Here's the deal." What was the deal he said to you?
The first deal he came with was 10 years, and how it blew up with him. I was like, "No fucking way!" I said, "Man, my daughter will be 12, man. No fucking way." So I'm like, "Hey, go back down there and tell him right now I'll sign for 7." Like, this is before any other court hearings or anything went on. I told him out the gate, "Man, I'll sign for 7." So we went down, talked to the prosecutor, and they come back out there, and they was like, "Man, they not budging. They trying to give you the mandatory minimum of 120 months, and this, and that." And I was like, "Man, fuck them, man. We going to trial." Because the way they stopped me was illegally anyway, you know what I'm saying? Once I read the police report, they jazzed the shit up. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to go to trial." Really wasn't tripping off the federal, the 95% conviction rate or none of that. I didn't know anything about it at that time. So I was just like, fuck, I'm going to trial. Yep.
So then what happened?
Steady, going through the preliminary things, I missed my bond. I didn't get the bond, and then when my auntie was going to put up her house for me. So I was going to be able to get the bond. But at the same time, I had the state charge still pending. I was still on state probation. So I had that warrant. So the lawyer was like, "Hey, if you do that, you might risk that house because state might be there and just pick you up." So I was like, "Man," I was just like, "Fuck it, man, just fuck it." And then, steady going to court hearings, he steady digging into his side of the investigation, and they were saying something about a co-defendant. I'm like, "Co-defendant? How?" I'm like, "Shouldn't be no co-defendant. Like, there was somebody at the scene that I released. Like, she ain't had nothing to do with it. That's all mine. So I shouldn't have a co-defendant." And he never even, I don't even know if he found out who the guy was or whatever. So the lawyer called me down to court one day and I was like, "Yo, what's going on?" He was like, "Look, this what it is. Like, tomorrow's trial if you gonna go." I'm like, "Shit, let's roll, And then he said it again. He was like, "If you go to trial, you don't have a co-defendant." I looked at him, I was like, "What do you fucking mean a co-defendant?" I got caught by myself. I owned up to everything that was there. And he looked at me like, "Yeah, you don't have a co-defendant that's going to show up to court tomorrow." And I looked at him in the eye after he said that again. I was like, "Man to man, fuck lawyer to client. What you think I should do?" He said, "Don't go to trial." I said, "Send me back to Lincoln County. And we'll plead out on the 10 when y'all come when they come back." That's how it went.
So then did you get immediately shipped to Oklahoma? Is that what happened? The transfer center?
No, after I actually went down and pleaded for the 120, I got shipped from Lincoln to Hannibal.
Okay.
And then I stayed in Hannibal for like 3 months. And then that's when I went to Oklahoma.
So Oklahoma is a trip. So how long were you in Oklahoma?
Got stuck in Oklahoma through the holiday system, and I was in Oklahoma from the first week before Thanksgiving until the first week before Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Yeah, I got stuck. It was the holiday thing. The weather was terrific then. And then there was a few spots out on the East Coast where I was going that went up and got locked down. So they like just cycled us all back to the bottom of the list. It was my whole unit was like, I'm gonna say like 70% of the unit that was there with me in Oklahoma was there for 3 months. We all came in together and almost left out together.
Wow. Wow, Ben. What was your feeling about Oklahoma?
I mean, you know, for a guy like, you know, my stature, you know, first time being in the pen, bro, it was definitely an eye opener, you know, a bit tense and a bit scared, but, you know, it's just, again, you got to adapt, you know. So it was just adapting to my situation and my surroundings once again. That's all it was. That's kind of really what, like, got me through everything for real, just adapting.
Yeah, figuring it out.
Yeah. Figuring it out, yeah.
So where do you end up after Oklahoma?
USP Lee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, another eye opener because I was supposed to be going to Greensville.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to Oklahoma and I get through processing and stuff, and they like, yeah, her inmate number, and I'm like, all right. They like, you going to USP Lee? And I'm like, nah, this my name, this my number. He looked at the paper again. He was like, yeah, USP Lee, and I was like, holy shit. So when I get back to the pod, a lot of the old guys are like, yo, youngster, where you going? I'm like, man, they sending me to USP Lee. They like, man, what the hell you do? I'm like, nothing. So, but, you know, get all the way out there, stuck in
Tell
the middle
everybody
of,
where
like,
that is.
in, what is that, Virginia? What is that? I want to say, is that Lee County, Virginia?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Out there where Wrong Turn is, you know where that is. If you ever saw that movie.
Yeah.
You know, that's in West Virginia. We drove through Virginia, and there was some parts out there that looked exactly like the movie Wrong Turn. Yeah. Definitely a hole blown in the mountain, like literally. Like they blew a hole in the mountain and put USP Lee there. It was wild, yeah.
What's your thoughts getting there?
Getting there?
Yeah, what's your thoughts? And once you get to where you're going, you've been all around, kind of in county, you've been in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Now you're finally at the place that they're going to put you, and you're a long ways from home. What's your thoughts?
You know, first thought was just, you know, I'm finally making it to the compound, actually, you know, so it's like, for one, better food, you know, and then you can kind of eat, just kind of call a little bit more. But, you know, I actually kind of had it kind of cool when I got there because one of my older friends, he was actually supposed to be in Memphis, but ended up getting into trouble down there and got shipped to Lee. So, you know, when they do the bus call, everybody want to come in and see who you are and go take you to the people in the area. So I did all of that. So now I'm in the cafeteria, the chow hall. And they was like, yeah, D, have you met the new homeboy? And they was like, no. We looked back at each other and we like, oh man, that's him. Such and such, like we know each other from the street. So we was like, I'm like, this is crazy. But seeing him there kind of eased my time because I actually knew somebody from the streets.
Big difference.
Even though it was a total difference. He was in another unit, but we saw each other every day and everything.
How'd your mom handle this with you being that far away and your daughter being that far away? What?
Oh, they were crushed, man.
Yeah.
They were crushed, you know, and then definitely for me, for once, my daughter was just so crushed because she hasn't been away from me ever like that, you know, and then she couldn't come to my house. She couldn't come, you know, anything like that. So she was hurt. She was going through a lot. Like she went down through a downward spiral after I got locked up from what my mom was telling me. She started getting in trouble at daycare and stuff like that, picking on people and stuff like that. And then, you know, my mom, she's strong, but it crushed her. You know, I'm the baby of the family, so that was a crusher from gate. And then the 120 months, another crusher, and then to get shipped all the way to Virginia, like it was like they kept pouring salt on the open wound, you know. But she was strong.
120 months is a lot to gulp down because that's just, there's really no way to, I always think when you look at, I got a 5-year sentence and you can't look that far ahead. You got to take it, eat it a day at a time because it's too far to look. If you try to look ahead. So how long were you there in Virginia?
I was in Virginia roughly about 15 months.
And
stayed out of trouble.
Yeah.
Got my normal transfer. Yeah.
And then where'd you transfer to?
I transferred, I was trying to go to Greenville again.
Yeah. Still trying to go to Greenville.
They activated Pollock. They made the new Pollock the medium. They activated that, so they flooded everybody there. So I got sent down to Louisiana. Pollock, Louisiana, yup, and opened up the new medium that was there. They just opened up in 2009.
What was that like with the opening up a new prison, a new medium, and you being the new inmates going into that? Was that
the
good or
of
bad?
It was okay. I mean, it was different. I'm gonna say it was okay. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely different because the whole compound wasn't open. Like it was still, you know how it is. Like you had those 3 main buildings.
Mm-hmm.
The closest 2 buildings to the chow hall was open, which left another, like, I think that one building, but those big buildings on those mediums hold like 1,500 people, 2,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
So that was like, one building that just was not open at all. And then my building, which I was the 3rd unit. We was the 3rd unit, filling in on a 4-unit block.
Did you know anybody there?
No, I didn't actually know anybody like per se, but I knew people we knew mutual contacts. Once we got down to digging like to where you were from and who you knew, we knew mutual contacts there. So kind of made it easier too, because once the names were, dropping, everybody's like, oh, that's such and such. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
What kind of days and jobs did you have when you were down in Louisiana?
Louisiana, I went, first, I was just on playing sports still. I was a workout junkie. I was playing handball all the time, softball, and then I went to the career center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went to the career center. I went in education, and that's where I worked at. And it was a great position. Like I was helping guys that was getting released that didn't have resumes and stuff like that, didn't know how to use a bank account and things of that nature. So I was in there teaching classes and stuff.
So that probably felt good. To be giving back and doing something with the guys that were getting ready to get out and teaching them stuff that they didn't know. Definitely felt good. Yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely. Because, it was surprising that, it's surprising that a lot of people don't know how to use a bank account or don't know how to type up a resume properly to where to get noticed, you know what I'm saying? But that, it fulfilled a lot of stuff in me because I was actually able to help people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think do you find, Ben, that there's more structure? I wasn't in a medium, but the guys that have been in mediums always talk about there's a lot more structure, a lot more things to do going on than being in a camp, because the camp, you get a job. If you get a good job in a camp, you can kill the day, but otherwise those guys roam around.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a lot more structured there. Definitely, because more programs, like I started a program at Pollock. Well, I helped start this one called Toastmasters. It's an international public speaking club, and we actually got it chartered through Toastmasters International there. So that was just another asset to the institution. What I'm saying, that allowed inmates to be able to do other things versus the normal stuff of playing basketball and working out all the time. Just trying to add other programs there, They had culinary arts there. They had a construction program there.
See, they didn't have any of that when you get down to the minimum level. I guess it's because they figure more guys are spending more time there and they're trying to feed and eat their time. Keep them busy. So how long were you in Louisiana?
I was in Louisiana, I want to say about 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah, it was between 15 to 18 months. Yeah.
You were really moving around.
Yeah, I kept, my profile was low, I didn't get caught up on anything. So I didn't get hit with when it was time to go to team. You know, I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get back closer to home, so they was pushing it through. I didn't have any issues when it came to transferring.
Did you ever get closer to home than Leavenworth?
Except for one time, yeah. No, Leavenworth was the closest.
Leavenworth was the closest. So you went to Louisiana. What was your next stop?
Oakdale.
Well, I'm curious. I'm curious, Ben. Did that moving around break up your time when you're dealing with that much time? Kind of broke it up into pieces.
Yeah, once it was time to transfer from Pollock, it broke it up for me there. Because now once it was time to transfer from Pollock, I was able to see the light then at the end of that 120 because I was 3 in then, you know, and I was looking like, okay, if I want to do the drug program, that's when I started breaking all the time down and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Right. So tell me, you finally make it to a minimum after all this time. You get to Leavenworth, and first of all, how did you get to Leavenworth? Did you have to go through the Oklahoma Transfer Center again? Did they put you on a bus and give you a furlough? I mean, how did Ben Robinson end up at Leavenworth?
So I end up, once I left Oakdale, I go to Forest City because they had RDAP.
Yeah.
But my points were a minimum. So I talked to my counselor, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to push it through for you. And that's how I get to Leavenworth. So I get to Leavenworth. Definitely an eye-opener because, you know, I've been behind the fence since Virginia. So when we walk out of R&D and they were like, yeah, go get in the van. I was like, what?
Get in this little minivan. Let's go for a ride.
He's going to drive you down to the car. I was like, what?
It's probably an inmate driving, too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was one of the inmates. Yeah. I was like, really? It tripped me out. Yeah, it tripped me out. And I was like, okay, now it's time to try to settle back in because it's coming to the end, you know?
Yeah.
Takes a ride from the big house down to the camp. I was in awe listening to I was like, what the hell? And starting to see, like, where your mind would be at from being locked up for so long.
Yeah. What were your thoughts? Because you've been behind the fence and the medium for all that time. So they didn't give you a furlough to get to Leavenworth, or did they?
No, I went back through Oklahoma.
Okay, you went back through Oklahoma. Because sometimes they do give you a furlough. Sometimes they just say, hey, here's your bus ticket, and we'll see you at Leavenworth, and good luck. Give you $20 and get there. But you had to go back through Oklahoma, which is always – there's nothing good about traveling as an inmate, ever.
No.
That's just not a good –
Definitely not happening.
Unless you're on the furlough.
Shackled. Unless you're on the furlough. But
shackled up driving around is not the way to be driving.
Yeah, I hated it. One of the most depressing points of transferring.
Yeah, no, it makes being shackled up, I think, makes you feel like an animal. I mean, there's nothing more dehumanizing than being shackled at your waist and your ankles, and you can't move.
And your ankles.
Yeah, nothing good about that. Nothing good about that. Not at all. So walk me into Leavenworth, Ben. You get into Leavenworth. You're, 4.5 hours away from home now. How's the family structure held up to everything now that you're here in Leavenworth?
Even before Leavenworth, my mom and my stepdad, they tried to make it down at least once a month, once a quarter, depending on the weather and where I was at. So getting to Leavenworth was going to make that a lot easier. Stepdad's an ex-vet, so he always used to go to Leavenworth anyway. Yeah. So them coming and me being 4 hours away just made them happier to be able to come see me, more frequently. A few of my other cousins came and saw me since I was closer and stuff like that. Yeah.
That had to be good. And one thing I meant to ask you when you were going through all that, because you said you adapted, you said you kind of worked your way into, keeping a low profile, was what were your strategies on handling hard days and hard times when you knew you were in there for a while? How did you grip on to, what did you hold on to?
My daughter and my mom.
Yeah.
The two most important things that kept me grounded and not crashing out while I was locked up. Yeah, every time it was coming to a time for me to crash out, even I can go back to being at USP Leaf Transfers in, feeling good. I go outside. I gamble a guy on the handball court, and I beat him. And then he don't want to pay. So now he was from DC, so I was, hollering at his people. And my homeboys now, they was like, look, they called me Nitty when I was locked up, Nitty, short for Frank Nitty. So they were like, look, man, you just don't want to go home, do you? And I'm like, what? No, you need to pay his money. They like, look, man, get off the rock, man. Don't worry about them stamps. So, and I had to go back to the unit and make a phone call, and talk to my people and go on and settle myself back down to get up off that rock. So, yeah, moms and daughter kept me grounded the entire time.
That was your main center. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. So, Ben, you got to walk me into this thing. You're walking yourself all the way through Leavenworth. And I ran into you at Leavenworth. You left a year before I did. You actually worked at Fort Leavenworth Golf Course, and I came in after you. And that was always a big deal, to be able to get what they call community custody, to get off our reservation and go somewhere. And it felt like a big deal because you felt like you were somewhat kind of in society for the day. And then at 3:30, you went back to prison. So yeah, you knew Drew and Mike and all those guys there and Harley the dog, but I loved Harley the dog. I just found out Harley the dog died. Cool. He just died about 2 months ago.
Oh man.
But Ben, you're what? How close are you to the door when you get hemmed up into this deal?
I was 2 weeks out.
2 weeks out. Okay, walk us through because we got to talk about this.
2 weeks out. Yeah, like you're saying, I'm working on the golf course. Everything is beautiful. I'm seeing society. I'm seeing humans. I'm seeing women. Seeing all the new cars. And then I'm actually, I like cutting grass and stuff like that. But Drew and them had me. They had me trimming the banks and stuff like that where the sand was at. So it was all right. It was pretty cool. But long as we don't fast forward to that day, I can't remember which hole it was, but there was a spot right on a corner. And you can make a right, and it'll take you down, and you'll make another right until our driveway right there.
Yeah.
Whatever that line.
It was hole number 2.
2 or something like a 2 or 7 or something like that. Yeah. So we
spent a year and a half on that golf course. You it was in a big square, but I think you're talking about hole number 2, par 5.
It was nothing to see Skinner pulling through. So this day I didn't think nothing of it. I'm still out there cutting grass. I didn't see him. I see him down the street. I hollered at one of the guys that was out there working with us, like, yo, compound out here, you know what I'm saying? Act like you're doing something or whatever. And they jumped out the car. Like, Robinson. I'm like, what? They're like, come here. I'm like, child, won't you see I'm working, man? Like, you came over here. This could have waited till I came back to the compound. So once I get over there to Skinner, he grabbed me like he was a police officer. And I was like, yo, hey, what's going on here? He was like, go and put your hands behind your back. And I was like, I don't understand what's going on. Why you come out way out here to do this? Now here comes civilians and everybody walking past, driving past, looking. I'm like, this is insane. So they like, yeah, we finna go to the hole. And I'm like, go to the hole for what? So I was thinking like, damn, did something from back in the day pop up and catch up to me? You know what I'm saying? Because I know they'll do this type of stuff to people.
Catch another charge,
so, yeah, so that's what I was thinking. I thought another charge had popped up. So, but, they put me in the back of the car. You know how Skinner is. He joking and laughing and shit the whole time like it was funny. So once we get to the big house, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 other people in there. And that's when I knew what it was about. And that's when I looked at
4 of their inmates is what you're saying.
Yeah, 4 of the inmates, yeah. So once I saw the 4 of the inmates, and I was like, nah, y'all got the wrong person, because I knew it was something about the K2 ring. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah.
There's a lot of K2 going around in Leavenworth, for sure. People walking around like zombies.
So, yeah, somebody told them that I was getting it, bringing it, somebody pulling up on me at the golf course, giving it to me, and I was bringing it back in. he did all of that because he taught him the assault charge or something. I don't even remember the dude's name. So now I'm in the hole. I really wasn't tripping off of it because everybody was like, I'm like, I got 2 weeks. They can't do nothing to me. I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 weeks to the door. They ain't catch me with nothing. I ain't caught up on nothing. So I'm cool.
Tell me about the hole.
Yeah. The hole up there was treacherous. It was, you know, because we was in the big house, so it wasn't just us there. So I'm back into a mind frame of dealing with people at USPs now when you talking through the door and stuff like that. So, I mean, food was terrible. It wasn't, you know, it's not the best, you know. I mean,
you have a window? Any windows?
Yeah, first cell I am. The window was right at the level of the grass.
Okay.
It had hand level, so mine was at the bottom, but it was in like back where the facilities area was at. So it like I couldn't see anybody or anything like that. I used to see the birds. That was about it. But yeah, you know, it was the hole, man. I never really experienced it, but I've experienced it to some degree, just being locked up. Period, here in St. Louis, like you deal with the low of the low if you get locked up in down in the justice center, you know. So it was typical to me, you know. It's just I had never been in there my whole time being locked up. So, but after the
So what are you thinking? You're being put in this hole. You think you're 2 weeks out to go home, and I'm sure they're not telling you anything.
Yeah, you can't. They couldn't. They weren't saying anything to me at the time. I'm at ease. I'm cool. Like at the time we couldn't. It was hard to get a phone call through because they was trying to cycle us in and stuff like that. So I hadn't talked to anybody for about a week. So that's when I kind of like started getting a little nervous because I'm like, man, I know they gonna get nervous if they don't hear from me. So I started trying to get a letter out. Got a letter out and a phone call out. I'm still cool because I got like 4-5 days left before they come tell me, hey, fuck your junk. And then when the release date came, it was a different story. So I woke up early, as always. I'm already knowing that they should be coming to get me about at the latest 8. At the latest 8 o'clock. And 8 o'clock rolled past. 9 o'clock rolled past. I get the beating on the door trying to talk to a lieutenant. And lieutenant finally come up because in they hole, they definitely didn't like the campers beating on the door. So I kicked it until somebody came up there. So I finally come up there. And I'm like, hey, man, what's going on? I'm supposed to get released today. What's going on? He was like, oh, okay, well, let me go see what's going on and I'll be right back. And got him coming back out. They pulled me out the cell and took me down to his office. He was like, look, this what, and took me down to the office and Maya came in there, the warden. He was up in there. And he was like, this what it is, you not getting released today. You know what I'm saying? This stuff that's going on, it's a pending charge and all of this extra stuff. And your family's outside, you know, I'm like, what, my family's here? They like, yeah, you know, the mom, she's down at the camp. They down at the camp bugging, scanning them. Like a few of the inmates, they knew who it was. They was there. A couple of guys told me, like, y'all remember seeing your mom down here? But yeah, they were down there trying to figure out what's going on. The warden wasn't telling them anything. They was just like, he in the hole. Like nothing else. They didn't tell them anything. So it was like, it stressed me all the way out then. And once they took me into the office and told me I wasn't going to get released on a date that has been set for so long.
We're talking years.
Years. Crushed not only me, but at the end of the day, like I say, when it came to that foundation, like my daughter was big in her.
Mm-hmm.
So like she knew that date. And she's been waiting on that date for so long. And when the date came, she went back down one of her spirals. When I called home, I talked to my mom. They're like, oh, I had to calm her down and have to talk to her and let her know it's going to be okay. And that sent me down the drain for real once I heard that, because I was like, nah. Because it was like I lied to her, you know, when I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I finally got to see, they let me see my mom on a video. They let me do a video visit with her. She was extremely upset, you know. She said, I'm disappointed in you. And I'm like, hold up, Ma. I'm like, look, I'll be disappointed in this because, you know, hey, I took one on the chin. Just took 120 on the chin. I say, this one I ain't good for. And that's when she looked at, that's when she relaxed. I told her, I'm like, no, I'm not good for this. And she was like, all right, well, I'm finna go home. She's finna start getting on the lawyer, and she got the right state representatives and stuff like that, and pushing the buck on her end. And that's when I pushed it on.
Good for your mom.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they transferred us units while we were in the hole, so they sent us to another unit. And then from there, I can't remember the guy name from RDAP, the head guy.
Oh, Dr.
Klein or something like that.
I can't remember. I can't believe I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
He came and knocked on my cell door. He was like, Robinson. I'm like, what? He slipped a piece of paper through the door. He was like, I'm sorry, it's not on me. I'm like, what you mean? I grabbed a piece of door, and then I see that they stripped my time and denied me and everything. And I was like, oh, hell no. Next day, I beat on the door. I need to get to the law library ASAP. And when I went to the law library, I just got to searching, doing general searches of cases of people who lost their RDAP time. Mm-hmm. And why did they lose it? And how did they lose it? I'm seeing cases on the streets, but I was really more focused on cases from within, on the inside. Mm-hmm. And there was no case like mine. So I was like, nah, you dead wrong. So I got to read more into the case law and get my verbiage right and things of that nature. And then I put in one of our, what we used to call it, a cop-out, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. But I sent it straight to Reason. I didn't send it down to Skinner. I got like the pink one or the yellow one. Sent it straight to Reason. Reason got back to the counselor that used to work with Skinner. And he came up the next day, knocked on my door. He was like, Robinson. I'm like, what's going on, man? He like, nothing. He's like, I don't know what the hell you sent to Reason, but it worked. I'm like, for real? He like, yeah, it worked. So just hang tight till you in process. I'm like, all right, cool. So at that time, I was like extra 30 days in. So I'm back into that adapt mode. You know what I'm saying? Let me sit and chill for a minute. A few people getting transferred that was coming from the camp. Mm-hmm. I was just, just adapting, chilling, trying to keep my head above water, man, because it was, like I said, that was hard to do.
How do you kill in your time in there those days? I mean, you were in there for 3 months in the hole. What are you doing in there? Got a lot to think about.
Working out, sleeping, trying to keep some good batteries to listen to radio.
Yeah.
I used to listen to NPR a lot, definitely, especially when you get on here to a lot of their regular talk shows. And then I used to listen to this guy, probably heard of Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to listen to his shows all the time, too. So once I started catching on the shows, that's how I was really getting through my day. A lot of my shows would come on after 2 o'clock, so that's how I would get up in the morning, eat, do my thing, work out, shower, chill out for a minute, lunch come in, at the lunchtime, work out again, and then now I'm going to put the radio on and start listening to shows, stuff like that to kind of get down to the night, and writing and reading. So I got through the whole time.
So you got through the whole, when they just knock on the door and say, hey, Robinson, you're going to get released?
Oh no. After, I can't even think of my counsel. I don't know why I can only remember Skinner, his country self. So once my counselor came up there and told me that, he was like, man, everything's good. Just sit tight. You're going to be all right. So one of the other drug RDAP counselors came up there and talked to me like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, all right, I'm cool. I'm just trying to get my time back, and things like that. So I just rolled it out. And my mom kept putting pressure on them. State reps and stuff had sent a letter up there and called and talked to the warden. Somebody from Region personally called the warden and told him what he was doing was wrong, and he better hope it don't come back on him. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to round up a lawsuit against him and everything after they said all of that. And, I just sat back and, the day just finally came, the day before I'm sweating bullets again, you know what I mean? Because I don't know what can happen. And, they came and got me and took me to R&D finally, and I got out.
Okay, so your parents, or your mom and your daughter are there that day?
Nope, they didn't. They were it shocked them so bad. I told them don't come. They was like, no, we cool. We're not going to come back up there. like I told you, they were talking to Skinner and the warden.
So they didn't know for sure if they would have made another trip up there, you might not get out. Yeah,
exactly. So they were like, I was like, yeah.
And there's nothing worse,
and
there's nothing of a worse feeling when when your family's there and they're turned away. I mean, I had it happen a couple of times on visits because somebody liked to jack around with the points, and you can't do anything. Swanson thought it was a good time to tell my kids and my wife, and then he came in and told me I was hit, and I said, hit for what? He said, I just sent your family home. Yeah, I just sent your family home.
He used to laugh and joke all the time like the
guy was demented. So, okay, so you got out, Dan. You get out after 3 months in the hole, and you were supposed to go home 3 months before this after you got a 10-year sentence. How did you get home back to St. Louis?
I went on and got on the bus.
Okay.
I just went on and mellowed out. I really didn't want to get in the car anyway after the situation. I'm like, I'm going to take this time to just soak it in and get back to the crib.
Yeah, you've been in the hole.
So I just got on the bus.
Tell me what it was like riding and then getting there. Finally being home.
Oh, finally being home, man, was awesome. I finally get down to the Greyhound station. Of course, my mom was there, and she broke down, screamed, baby family home, and ran across the street, and that was awesome. It meant a lot to me, and then they had some barbecue that I requested that she cooked, and I rode home with them and went and ate and chilled until I had to go turn myself into the halfway house.
At the Dismas house.
Yeah, at the Dismas house, yep.
There's nothing good about that place either. How long were you at the Dismas house? They shut that place down a few months ago.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. They finally didn't get their federal contract.
Oh, wow. I was there.
Those are bad folks that are running that place.
Crazy. Yeah, I was there. I was physically there for, 3.5 months? And then I went to home confinement.
Yeah. Dismas. Bad place.
I wanted to get up out of there. Like the counselor I had there, he wasn't putting my work schedule in and stuff like that. I'm trying to leave out the door. I work all the way out of St. Peter's. They tell me I can't leave. I'm like, man, this is crazy. I had to go to another counselor. He started letting me out. So
what's crazy about it, Ben, is that was supposed to be a place that's supposed to help you get back into society, and all they did was screw things up, and they just wanted to keep you in there, locked down.
Right, exactly.
Nightmare. So tell me, what's going on now? What's going on now in your world? Because we were just talking before we got on here. I think you're doing some cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, now in my world, right now, full-time, I work at Habitat for Humanity. I'm the office manager here, so I'm mainly running the building. On my own, I created Billionaire Royalties while I was incarcerated. Stepped back in 2013, filed it as an LLC when I came home in 2017, and just been rocking the boat with that, trying to do my thing in real estate. I sell hoodies and T-shirts and jackets and stuff, apparel, under the company name.
What's the company name so everybody knows it again?
Billionaire Royalties.
Billionaire Royalties, everybody.
Yep. So, I'm a notary public now. I do grassroots nonprofit work in Dutchtown. This year will be our 6th annual back-to-school event for Marquette Community Day, MCD. So, I'm doing that. I do a lot of volunteer work in Dutchtown. I represent a few boards, Dutchtown, definitely. And, that's what I got going on, man. A lot of good things.
I love it. So how are things with your mom, your daughter? How's all that?
Oh, everything is wonderful. Actually, just got through talking to my mom earlier before I got on here. Actually, gonna go see her in a minute. Actually,
yeah.
Everything is lovely, man. She's good. She's healthy as to what it can be.
Yeah.
My daughter is.
How old is she now?
She's 16.
16. Wow.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, she's a blessing. She's good. She's doing good in school. She's very intelligent. Inspiring. She wants to do a lot of things in life as well. So, I mean, those relationships are still locked tight.
I'm curious because you got into some things that it's not easy when you get out. It's not easy to to find work. It's not easy to find somebody that says, hey, I'm going to give you an opportunity. How did that work for you? How did you get that? How did that happen?
And that happened from when I told you I started working in education in Polo.
Mm-hmm.
So from being there and doing education, I ran into a good friend. And he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, man, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get this bachelor's degree while I'm in prison. He was like, no, let's go study business.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing that and doing all that. And that's kind of like, where it brought me to when I came home, it was like, I'm not letting the failing thing stop me.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't let it block me. If the question came up on the application, I answered it. If
Right.
it came up in the interview, I answered it and I explained it. And the first time that I had to do it, I got the job. And he actually was on the phone. He was like, hey, I'm going to call corporate and tell them to waive all of that. I need you on my team.
Man, I love that.
So
you know what I love about that, Ben, is I love that you just stepped into it and you didn't try to lie about it or avoid it or anything. You stood out in front of it. I think people, first of all, they're not used to that. And then when you tell them and they see who you are and how you're being just brutally honest about what's going on and that you need the opportunity. But, man, that's a big deal that somebody took you in and said, hey, I want you.
Good job, too. Yeah. I was a sales consultant at the tile shop, designing top-line bathrooms, kitchens, basements, all of that. So, yeah. And like I say, Bud was a good guy because once I explained it to him, he was like, hold on, I'm going to call corporate right now. And he called them in front of me and told them, hey, I got a guy, I need him on my team. I need y'all to waive all the legal stuff.
Man, that had to make you feel good.
Made me feel great, man, because I hadn't even touched down in, September. I hadn't even been home like 45 days when I got that job.
It just had to make you feel, too, like you had put the work in, too. You had behind the wall had actually put work in to be ready for an opportunity. The thing about getting an opportunity is you got to be ready for an opportunity. Someone give you an opportunity that you're not ready for it and you miss it, but you were ready. You were ready to jump at it. And he saw you as somebody that was somebody he needed. And that's a big deal. Big deal.
Definitely big, man. Yeah, I was super ecstatic, happy. Like I say, the pay was definitely coming home. The pay was good. I mean, the pay was whatever you wanted it to be because it was 100% commission.
Yeah.
Plus base pay. So you're a hustler like me, you didn't have time. You didn't have to worry about, I'm hitting that door, I'm designing for you, whatever I need to do to get my check up. Yeah, it was cool, though.
Nothing like giving a guy that's in sports commission. It's like putting a scoreboard in front of you.
Right. For sure.
So, Ben, I think it's cool, man. You made it. I mean, you made it all the way through, and they made it really tough for you to get out. I mean,
like
Lord.
I said, man, he had the paperwork put in. He was sending me to Texarkana. I was gonna lose RDAP. I was gonna go get shipped all the way to Texarkana, so I was gonna end up staying in an extra like 18 to 24 months.
Oh my God, it'd be just devastating.
If I don't go to the library. If I just sit there and
it all would have happened,
and mosey through it.
Yeah,
it would have all. Yeah.
You got to stand up for yourself, and you got to actually know where to go too. I mean, you went to the books and found what you were looking for. That's smart.
Yeah.
So out of all of this, I mean, first of all, is there anything I didn't ask you, Ben, that you wanted to share?
Oh no, man. We went from young to now, man. I think we touched bases on everything, man. We probably didn't.
What do you think you'd part to the audience? You takeaways on everything, where you're at now, how you feel about life. Where you're at now, how you feel about life. Your biggest takeaway from all this stuff that you've lived through.
Man, my biggest takeaway is stay humble, stay grounded. Always have faith, man. And believe that, you can be your best self, and that doesn't mean it can be whichever way you want it to be. Like, you want to be the best thief, be the best thief. Mm-hmm. You want to be the best real estate agent, be the best real estate agent. You know what I mean? So, and that comes with taking time of studying and re-innovating yourself, always being, what Bruce Lee say, like water, be like water. And that's one of my main things.
I like that.
I love to be like water.
I like it too that you're the epicenter of getting you through everything was your daughter, your mom, and that calmed your soul and also kept you adapting and moving forward. Keep stepping, just keep stepping. Don't give up. You had that in front of you. That was your, I always like to say that's your Zewantaneo. You from Shawshank, that was living in your head. I like that.
Yeah. She always told me that. She's like, no matter what, you're going to get through it.
Yeah. Well, you went through a lot, man. You went through a lot.
Yeah,
cool
definitely.
Stuff, Ben. I'm proud of you, man. You're doing cool stuff. You got to feel. You got to be feeling good. You're stepping through it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm at the point to where it's assets now. So I'm steady trying to build now, man.
Yeah.
And collaborate in any way that I can. Definitely, if the mission finds it.
Yeah, I like it.
Sure.
All right, everybody.
Enjoy what you're doing. I like what you're doing.
Well, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, Ben. Really am.
When I saw it, I was like, "Oh, there's Brent." I'm like, "Ah, man, hell yeah!" What's up, man?
And I love having this platform for everybody to be able to talk. And it's just, I just think it's cool. And I think, listen for people to be able to listen to what you went through in your life before, and then how you handled your prison, and then how you came out. I mean, there's nuggets of something in there for everybody. There really is. And you just got to keep stepping through it. Yeah. All right, Ben, man, thank you so much. Everybody, Nightmare Success. If you haven't found the book you're looking for, there's one that I wrote. It's called Nightmare Success. Everybody, thanks for listening today.